Hello and welcome to our Veronica Mars review. I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.
This week we are discussing the episode Ahoy, Mateys! This episode
Yes.
originally aired November 23rd, 2005. Let us start off with the number one song in America, which is still Gold Digger by Kanye West, but it won't be next week.
Thanks, supposed goodness.
It'll be a song that I don't like anymore, but at least it'll be something different.
Which is marginally better.
Number one movie in America, it's still Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire because, it's a Harry Potter movie in 2005.
Yeah.
Moving on to video games. Oh my god, the top one here makes me so happy, Dave. It's the most 2005 game possible. On November 7th...
Last one last week.
No, I saw it and we couldn't talk about it until this week, and it makes me so happy. November 17th, if you had a PS2 or Xbox, you could go to the store and pick up a little game called 50 Cent Bulletproof.
Oh yeah. I vaguely forgot that this game existed, but this was a thing.
Yes, and it's like the most 2005 game ever.
Yeah.
Okay, so this game is not good. I'm just
No,
gonna...
it's kind of understandable. Like, I'm not exactly sure how much the particular artist kind of endorsed it or actually worked on the game to assist with it, but it's kind of the case of, hey, random game studio, here's a bunch of money, make a game about me. It's like, yeah, okay.
I think what happened is they got the license to 50 Cent somehow, and then they were... Like, his likeness is in the game, and the likeness of, like, other, like, associated artists are in the game. So this game was not good because it took itself seriously.
Yeah. Kind of
Okay?
that marvelous balancing act.
Yes. However, there was a sequel to this, which is genuinely good.
Hmm.
It's called 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, and it is good because it is exactly what this should be, and it's ridiculous and over the top and does not take itself seriously.
You know, all those other particular people working on making video games. Maybe make notes about that.
Yes, it's... Unfortunately, the sequel did not do well, but it was genuinely entertaining.
Hmm.
Anyway, moving on, November 17th, if you owned an Xbox 360, you could pick up a little game called Perfect Dark Zero.
Yeah, understandable, but also kind of the case of not exactly great. They tried, but it just
When are we getting another Perfect Dark game? I feel like we haven't got one in, like, forever.
yeah. I'm not exactly sure who has the licensing or whatnot to the particular game series, and just no one's bothered to bring up the idea to anybody.
Oh, it would be Microsoft, I'm assuming, because they bought Rare.
Hmm.
Oh, there's a Perfect Dark reboot coming. It was announced at the Game Awards in 2020. Is Has there been any news since then, though? October 2024, it was reported that former left the studio. Okay, so it looks like it's still being worked on, so there might actually be a reboot coming. That would be cool.
It would be neat. Though it's a question of whether or not it would need another year or two, and or it's supposedly going to be taking a while.
So according to Wiki, they showed a gameplay trailer for Perfect Dark at the Xbox Games Showcase on June 9th, 2024. So I'm guessing if it's going to come out, it'll be late this year, early next year.
Hmm.
Huh, cool. I can't wait to play that, even though I don't own an Xbox.
Hmm.
Moving on, November 17th. This game's going to come up a few times, so I'm just going to talk about it once.
Well,
But it's available on basically everything, and it's Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie.
yeah, when they kind of brought this back, which in certain cases is understandable, but just the case of Never specifically saw the movie. Supposedly know it has somewhat of a story, but just the case of, eh, it's Peter Jackson's King Kong. Good for him.
Yes, this game actually got very good reviews at the time, and apparently is one of the better movie adaptation games.
Mm,
Moving along, November 22nd was a hell of a day.
yeah, yeah.
If you were picking up an Xbox 360, because doing a cursory glance, that looks like it when it launched in North America, you could pick up this little game called Call of Duty 2.
Yeah, yeah, that would what be most everybody would be hunting for.
Also, on the same day, if you were picking up that Xbox 360, you could pick up Amped 3.
No, that's fairly good. Decent snowboarding sports game to play through.
Yes, I feel like we don't get Amped games anymore. I feel like a lot of the franchises from this era just aren't around anymore.
Yeah, weirdly enough.
November 22nd, if you were picking up that new Xbox 360, or it was probably playable on the original Xbox too, you could pick up Geometry Wars Retro Evolved.
With this one, I believe one of the ones that was on game, the Xbox Live Arcade download system.
Yes. Yes, it was. I love Geometry Wars. Those games were so much fun.
Always neat.
Yes, another series that we haven't got anything from in quite a while. Moving on, also on November 22nd, if you are picking up that new Xbox 360, you could pick up Ridge Racer 6.
Suppose it, yes, though I'm not exactly super familiar or what would supposedly make 6 interesting in comparison to the other Ridge Racers.
It's Ridge Racer. It's a racing game, and Microsoft really likes racing games, apparently.
Yeah, though it's a question of which kind of house it kind of sits in, but that's a whole wheelhouse in its own.
Yes. November 22nd, if you're picking up an Xbox 360, you could pick up Cameo Elements of Power.
Now I can actually see some stuff about this particular one, which kind of relates to the previous topic we were discussing with Perfect Perfect Dark Zero being a game of, wow, this one was sitting in limbo for quite some time before it got smooshed up onto the Xbox 360.
Yeah, didn't this start life as like an N64 game or something? Or am I getting
It
confused?
did.
Okay.
And they worked on the specific idea and they had in mind for either getting it onto um, supposedly N64, supposedly GameCube once things supposedly went on, but then Microsoft bought Rare and it kind of went along with it.
Huh. Interesting. And finally, just one last game here. On November 22nd, if you're picking up your new Xbox 360, you could pick up Quake 4.
Yeah, also another particular thing to have on there.
I love Quake, which is another series I feel like we haven't heard from in a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
At least not like major releases.
Then it's also kind of the case of with how many other particular things have come in with that sort of stuff that have similar sort of game style. How much could Quake supposedly stand on its titling alone that wouldn't be like, why is it trying to copy this particular game that did the exact same thing this game did?
Yeah, I feel like now with like Fortnite and those kind of games being so big, I'm kind of surprised they haven't brought Quake back and made it like free to play and just caked in microtransactions. Like, I'm glad they haven't, but I'm surprised.
Yeah, that's fairly true, and it's kind of the case of it's kind of the easy sort of way to go about it in certain cases, but whether or not it would supposedly either work for the marketing of certain things or wouldn't get blowback from customers and or other particular people being like, they're just like the evil corporations, no microtransactions.
I mean, I do hate microtransactions. And I do hate corporations, so, you know. Anyway, moving on to the episode at hand.
Indeed,
Okay.
with all them pirate talkings and the thingies.
Duncan has a dream involving Meg and Veronica. Duncan wakes up to hear Veronica reporting her findings about Dr. Griffith to Logan, including that he was reprimanded for doing illegal surgery on a man named Danny Boyd. Duncan puts Meg's letter from the previous episode into a drawer. At school, a boy confronts Weevil demanding the cocaine he ordered from some biker dude. Weevil denies knowledge of the drug deal. At Mars Investigations, Keith meets with the parents of Marcos. Oh god, I'm terrible with Spanish names. Oliverius. I don't know. We're just going to call him Marcus. A student who died in the bus crash. The family report they are being harassed with reminders of their son's death, and they need proof of who is behind it. Logan drives Veronica to meet Danny Boyd. Boyd leads her to the River Styx, a local bar heavily patronized by the Fitzpatrick crime family. Boyd explains Dr. Griffith was reprimanded for giving him stitches after a bar fight. A man confronts Danny, demanding to know why he brought Veronica into the bar. Veronica's identity is outed, and she is attacked by the man, who demands to know the real reason she is there. Logan barges in, announcing he has called 911, and then forces Veronica's release by holding the man at gunpoint. Keith tells Veronica that Marcos's parents believe they are being harassed by the school administration, so they drop their lawsuit. Keith asks Veronica about Marcos, and she admits she didn't know him. Veronica asks around about him at school, but no one really remembers him. However, Veronica receives an anonymous email about Marcus from someone claiming to have a jealous boyfriend. Keith gives Veronica an MP3 player paid for by the Neptune School District that he found broadcasting Marcos's voice in one of the family members' cars. I believe it was his mum. Veronica confronts the principal, and he denies any knowledge of the harassment. Veronica gives the MP3 player to Mac, who recognizes Marcus' voice from that of Captain Crunk, one of the co-anchors of a popular pirate radio show. The show was mostly about roasting various Neptune High students, leading Veronica to conclude that a large number of people could have had it out for Marcus. Mac tells Veronica she stopped listening after the show went on a 4-week break, and Captain Crunk wasn't on it anymore when it returned. Veronica confronts Weevil about her belief that he set up Tom Griffith for a favor from the Fitzpatrick family, of which Danny Boyd is a member. However, Weevil denies being behind the scheme. Weevil realizes that one or more of the members of his gang are going behind his back and warns them that he will find out who. Later, Weevil talks to a biker who admits he lied to police and didn't actually see Logan stab Felix. Veronica and Mac track the origin of the radio signal to a house, only to be shocked when Vice Principal Clemens answers the door. They lie about needing to see his son, Vincent, get into the house. Veronica and Mac find radio equipment in the basement room where Vincent is, confirming that he is the other host of the pirate radio show. Vincent tells them that Marcus quit the show after going to summer camp, but Vincent doesn't know why the family was so unhappy, with Keith's suggestion the harassment is unrelated to the lawsuit. Veronica does some digging and finds out that Marcus's parents sent him to a conversion therapy camp, because those always work and never backfire.
Yeah.
Okay, so Keith stakes out Marcus's family's home and while they are away, and finds a neighbor going into the house, using their security code to get some beer from the kitchen. However, that is apparently normal for him. Keith finds a toy school bus in their fish tank, and the security code scribbled on the back of a scrap piece of paper from the law firm representing the school district. Logan is kidnapped by masked bikers who subject him to torture by playing Russian roulette with various parts of his body. Logan swears that he does not remember the night Felix was murdered, and he is eventually let go. Logan manages to steal a cell phone from one of the bikers, which he uses to call Weevil and threaten him. Veronica talks to Vincent about Marcus being gay, but Vincent insists Veronica is wrong and that Marcus was almost beaten up by a jealous boyfriend, which reminds Veronica of the email she received. Keith informs Marcus's father that he can prove someone in the family is responsible for the last toy bus and the security code on the paper from the school's law firm, and that he should take the settlement. Veronica goes to the house of the girl with the jealous boyfriend. She finds the email was sent by a teenage boy named Ryan, and he has and that he is also responsible for the harassment. Ryan explains that he was in love with Marcus. Marcus's parents saw them flirting, which caused them to send Marcus to the conversion therapy camp. Again, a very good decision that will never backfire and absolutely destroy your child's mental health. Hey. After attending the camp, Marcus becomes depressed. When he died in the bus crash, Ryan took revenge on Marcus's parents by haunting their memories. Duncan has another dream about Meg. When he wakes up, he opens her letter and says, "Oh my God." So, what do we think of this episode, Dave?
So, I think the one particular thing with this is I don't usually see titlings and whatnot for the episode, but with seeing the Ahoy Mateys and starting the episode, it's like, I questioned where the episode is going with this. And then it brought up the radio show sort of stuff, and it's like, oh my God, this is like me discovering that one particular thing in high school that a whole lot of people were into for the first time, and like stepping into other particular world things that exist for people. Just nice little blast of nostalgia from my past. But nevertheless, it was interesting just seeing the ideas for this episode, the little bits of nuggets that were kind of placed in with the start of the episode, end of the episode, and little bits going along. But I think at the very most, just understandable with the radio show, but oh my God, the cringe. Just with, it's understandable, just, oh my God.
All right, so there's an... Oh, God.
And I think just the other thing with Weevil kind of also getting involved with his investigation of looking into what the flip happened with the stabbing and whatnot and trying to get answers. And just the case of he's doing his best, but oh God, is someone within his crew just taking things? Oh boy, there's going to be some mess, supposedly, to clean up.
Yes. So there's a couple of important things that happen in this episode. One is that Duncan agonizes about reading Meg's letter, but eventually does, although we don't find out what's in that letter yet. Veronica tries to help Logan by getting more information about Tom Griffith. She goes to see Danny, who had a bar fight wound that the doctor treated, and finds out that he is part of the Fighting Fitzpatricks. She then gets threatened by Liam Fitzpatrick, and Logan has to save her.
Yeah, thank God that she actually had some backup, aside from backup, to kind of help out with that.
Yes, why hasn't backup been around? He's a good boy.
He is a good boy, and I can somewhat understand, but also, where the heck is backup?
Thumper, one of the bikers, tells Weevil that the last people on the bridge with Felix Toombs alive were Hector and Bootsy. So that could be important later. And two of the PCHers grab Logan and put a gun to his hand to get him to confess to Felix's murder. He says he doesn't know anything. After they dump him off, he is able to get one of their cell phones and finds out that Weevil is behind the attack. So I'm sure that that will go very well for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes. I also do love how they constantly refer to Mac as Q. And I'm like,
oh, yes.
I love that.
The particular jokes and whatnot. She goes along with it. It's just, I don't know, it's so great with your work there, Q. Of course, James Bond, Mr. Bond.
Because it does work. Like, that is kind of their relationship. I do enjoy that. All right, so if there's nothing else about this episode, next week we'll be discussing a little episode called My Mother the Fiend. We're going to have a character that popped up a few times in Season 1 come back. And it's going to be a nice little a Buffy reunion, Dave.
Okay, so I think I might know who you're speaking about. Though it's also the question of, how's this going to play into things?
Yes, Allison Hannigan as Trina Nichols will be back for, I believe, her final appearance on the show. And I'm sure that won't cause any problems anywhere because she is a well-adjusted human being.
Again, we'll see, kind of depending on what sort of stuff decides to happen.
Alrighty, so If there's nothing else, I've been Paul.
I've been Dave.